Hi there, everybody. Welcome to Narrowboat Lockdown 11.
Crikey.
And it seems that we are edging towards the end of the lockdown period, or at least tailing down from it.
Yeah.
What have CRT said, Canal and River Trust? What's the update?
We had an email from them, I think it was yesterday or a day ago, saying that we can start moving again from May the 23rd. Terribly exciting. So we are allowed to go back to our constant cruising pattern, which is you must move every 2 weeks. So we can do that. So from the 23rd of May, guys, it's beginning.
Okay, so things are going to open up again.
Yeah.
But it's been a very interesting time, stressful for many people.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, how has lockdown been for you? How have you found it?
Well, it's been very hard being away from friends and family. That's certainly true. But I think what it has given us is a lot of time, uninterrupted time, probably like many people living in houses, I guess, a lot of uninterrupted time to do a lot of work and repairs on our boat.
Yeah.
No excuses.
Yes, and also, I mean, I found that it's been a very creative time because
Yes.
you know, it's easy to have distractions, but you know, I'm a writer. I'm writing my novel, Barging Free at the moment, about our first year on our narrowboat, and you know, I've got no excuses now.
Indeed.
I've got to get up every day and I've got to write on this. I've got to finish it. Also,
So you're
because
super disciplined about that, aren't
well,
you?
I'm getting more disciplined, yes. And also just say, and this is a little plug, the first part of the novel is being broadcast on Wigan airwaves tomorrow night at 8 o'clock.
That's true.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing.
How exciting. Yes, Wigan Airways is actually a theatre boat. It's a narrowboat like us, which is also a theatre. And during lockdown, they have begun an amazing radio station running from the boat because obviously people can't come there for
Many
real.
of you will know the theatre Wigan boat, or the Wigan Theatre boat, I think it's called the right way round. You know, where we've been to a number of shows on the boat, and it's fantastic. It really is lovely. You know, you go music, or we've seen a play, and so forth. So it's a unique venue, but they've also started doing their own radio station. Okay.
So premiere of your book.
Yes, that's
Premiere,
right. That's
as
right.
Americans say.
But listen, the I think the gist of this this broadcast here, this video, is we want to give you, because this is one of the things that's come up. We've had time to really reflect about our lifestyle and the actual reality of it. And we came up with this idea. We want to work out how many hours a week we spend on different activities. You know, my idea with moving on to a narrowboat is that it's freedom and independence. Well, the question is, how much freedom do you have? How much time do you have to spend per week maintaining your boat? So folks, it's the sunny weather, it's spring, and you might be thinking, hey, get out there, buy a boat. But we're going to give you some reality here. So what we did is we did a time emotion study. Do you want to say a little bit more about that?
I wish somebody had done a video like this before we moved on to a boat, before we bought a project. A project is a boat euphemism for a boat that needs a bleep, 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 bleep amount of work doing to it. And ours was one of those. And whatever work you think, by the way, needs doing to it, triple it. That's always a good way to go.
Yes.
So 4 years down the road, we thought we would actually, as Alan just said, break it down and look at how many hours do we spend maintaining, repairing, and building new stuff for our boat.
And also, how much time do we spend on other things? You know,
Yes.
if the idea was, get financial freedom,
Yes.
have a lot of independence, and do what you love doing. In my case, writing.
Yes.
Right. So how many hours a week am I actually doing on writing?
Yes.
So we really broke it down, and it was tough. I take my
Yes.
hat off to you.
It was a long and a boring job.
Because Ayesha was the one who recorded all the figures and asked me at the end of the day, how long did I spend on this or that and the other?
Yes.
So should we just talk about the findings first?
Yes. I mean, aside from our own findings, we were interested to see how much time we spend on exercise and leisure and cooking and socializing, all that sort of thing. Not much on socializing at the moment, has to be said, with lockdown. The key thing that you guys are going to be interested in, I imagine, is how much time do we spend maintaining and repairing our boat? And also for me, how much time is left over for building new stuff like our fabulous roof deck. And I got to say, it was very interesting what came up when we actually compiled it. Because I think you had in your mind that we spend hours and hours doing endless DIY. And actually, interestingly, what came up was it wasn't DIY so much that was taking up our time. In fact, that was rather reduced by how much time on a boat you can spend on repairing and maintaining. Now, obviously, this depends on the boat. If you bought a spanking new boat straight off the production line, you're probably not going to have the amount of repairs that we did. But we really didn't buy an old crock either. Ours was somewhere kind of in the middle, probably the sort of boat most of you guys thinking about buying boats would purchase. And I have always said that it's a part-time job. Living on a boat. It really is. Now, how much of a part-time job, what percentage of the week does it actually take up? That was really what we wanted to discover. Well, I said about repair and maintenance, not even the lovely DIY bit, not the building of lovely roof decks and cupboards and tables and all that glitzy stuff and little decking areas on our floor and that sort of thing. The boring stuff. This is just, hold it up, Alan. This is just a horrible list of just some of the things.
I think it's going to be back. Is it going to be back to front?
I don't think. No, I think it sort of comes the other way. Okay. I'm going to read some of these out. We had a smash window. We never did find out who broke that window, but it was a pain in the posterior trying to actually repair that thing. Weeks and weeks of work. Fuel pump, well, anybody following our videos would have followed our fun and games with the fuel pump in the middle of lockdown when we couldn't get any parts. Then the oil filter went. Then the oil diesel began leaking. We've had mysterious leaks all over the boat. Which was worsened by Alan cutting through one of the water pipes.
Yep.
We had mysterious water in the bow, which we discovered was coming from a water pump, which we finally got fixed. And then the water pump itself broke. Our seating area developed an enormous crack, which was not very good. The kitchen tap broke. We had 3 different taps going back and forth to various places, trying to find one that would actually fit. The gulper pump in the shower broke. The domestic batteries are completely... Can I say?
Well, let's say they're not performing
there isn't a polite
at
word
their
for our domestic batteries.
Highest level.
No, we're thinking of going lithium.
Yeah,
don't know about that, but
that's another
rather
video.
Tempted.
Yeah.
Dripping bedroom window, that was lovely in the winter. Dripped all over you while you were sleeping. Yeah. And that's just page 1, guys.
Yeah.
Of stuff
so
we've probably
how
done.
How long ago is that?
That's only 6 months, and we have not covered
okay.
all the things that needed repair and maintaining.
So I think a point to bear in mind is that if you're a constant cruiser and you live 24/7 like us on our boat, you are using things at much more intensively. So things get more stress, things break down more easily. And of course, this is not a brand new boat. So you're going to bear that in mind as well. Some parts are quite old. So we came to certain conclusions. Are you able to read or say what the conclusions were?
In a nutshell, I would say at the moment, if you averaged it out, we are spending about 12 hours a week on repair and maintenance and a little bit of DIY, but probably only 2.5 hours or maybe 3 hours is spent on that DIY part.
And the DIY is where you're bringing in something new. You're creating
Yes.
some new aspect, adding something to the boat.
Now, to be fair, not all of that was repair. What I included in that piece of analysis was things that take extra time that you wouldn't have if you lived in a house. I'll give you a specific example of that. If you are a constant cruiser living on a boat, you won't have a mailbox. You won't have a post box on your front door, obviously. So we have a mailbox address. So when we go to pick up our mail, depending on where we're moored, it could be an hour and a half to get to the mailbox, as it was quite recently. So I would include something like that as coming under boat living, something
maintenance.
Something that takes time out of your day that you would not have to do if you lived in a house.
Yeah.
So I would say if we're looking at, let's say, 12 hours a week, and I think that's fairly conservatively speaking, but that covers everything from repair, maintenance, things like, let's say, topping up your batteries would be a maintenance issue. Other maintenance issues, what would you say?
Checking water and oil levels in
Clearing
the engine.
out the weed hatch that you've got to do every time you go off.
Just checking that there aren't any leaks anywhere. You just got to keep monitoring things all the time, because, as I say, it's a system that is continuously under pressure to perform.
And what I haven't included in that 12 hours, interestingly, is cruising itself. Now, we haven't been doing it because it's lockdown, so it's not there. But usually in a 2-week period, you would be cruising, which I'm going to say, it depends on how far you cruise, but that could be anything. I would say generally between 1 and 3 hours to, get your boat ready, take it off, find a new mooring and tie up again.
Clear the weed hatch.
Right. So you can add an hour and a half a week on to that. And for those of you guys who don't have a water filtration system like us, you also have to put in time for actually filling up your water or going to a laundrette. We don't have to do that because we do actually have a washing machine on our boat. It's not an exact science, guys, but if you are interested, I would say think of it as a quarter of your week for maintaining your boat if you're looking at 12 hours, seriously. And obviously it's not just time, is it? It's money. We've spent a chunk of change over the last 6 months.
And also knowledge, because especially in lockdown, you can't necessarily get people, you can't assume somebody's going to come out and do the repair for you, investigation. Right. So, you go onto YouTube and then you put out a post on London Boaters or something like that, and you try and do as much yourself as possible.
Absolutely.
So I would say to anybody thinking of getting to buying a boat, and of course, as I say, it's the time of year when it's absolutely lovely to be on the canals. Think carefully, because you're going to have to make a quantum leap from being, I don't mean this pejoratively, but you're going to be a passive consumer where everything comes on at the flick of a switch to a self-sufficient boater. Yes. And you need to know quite a lot of stuff. So are you prepared to learn? Are you prepared to suffer? All right, when something goes wrong, you've got no water supply, your engine's not working, you're stuck, in the middle of somewhere or nowhere. What are you going to do? So it makes you stronger.
It does.
Being self-sufficient, but there's a lot of pain involved as well.
Yes, not least of which is the cost. There is a reason that they say boat is an anagram for BOAT, break out another 1,000. It's very easy to spend that kind of money. We've got our blacking coming up this year. That's going to be a chunk of change. Yeah. That's another thing I didn't put in the chart, actually, I realise.
But every
blacking,
2 years,
that can be quite a few days a week in a boatyard.
And some of you may already know the funny video that my son made, which is called "Why You Should Never Ever Live on a Narrowboat," and that is all about us blacking our boat up at Uxbridge Boatyard and covered in black goo and everything else and lying underneath. Well, we did that as an experience. I'm not sure that we're going to do that again, but It was not pleasant, I was going to say. So it's a mucky business.
Yeah.
You know, you got to get your hands dirty, and you got to be prepared to work things out yourself. So we're not saying don't buy a boat, but just don't walk in with your eyes closed. Keep your eyes open.
Absolutely.
We hope this has been useful information. Any last advice?
Well, has it been worth it?
Well, yes, it has.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't change this for the world. This is an
bit.
amazing experience. And, you know, here we are. We're, you know, a beautiful time of year up in Paravel. And it is like a little paradise.
Truly
There's 5 baby coots just across the way. They're nesting. And Mummy and Daddy take them out every morning for a little paddle.
We sit on our roof deck with a little drinky poo and watch them go by.
Oh, drink? I don't drink.
No.
Not much anyway.
Anyway, is
That's
that all
it,
for the week?
I think that's it.
Bye for now. Stay safe.
Bye-bye.